Hi everybody, welcome to All Four Queens. I hope everyone's doing well. I noticed that my recordings are now starting to come into the mainstream again, so thank you for whoever's taken the initiative to do that for me, and show positive integrity and be part of the solution, not part of the problem. I really do appreciate it, and I'm sure that the people that get the recordings who do take something from it will also get something from it now they get to see it. I could do with the YouTube channel being shown as a YouTube channel on the internet, so I don't know whoever's trying to control that. I would be very appreciative if you would look into that for me. Because obviously, you know, YouTube is the brand, isn't it? So thank you for that. The phone still hasn't been sorted. I'm hoping that there are people out there that are aware of who is doing it and why they're doing it, and hopefully, you know, they will step up and stand up and be counted, rather than allow people to just completely abuse their position and bully and abuse others. Just wanted to say that. Anyway. So, a lot of mad energy going on at the minute. There's a lot, I keep having to reject energy that keeps coming at me, in terms of, there's a lot of cold, and the person that is around me at the moment hasn't passed over. They're just obviously going through a lot. I'm feeling a lot of fluttering and, as I said yesterday, breathlessness. I don't know whether that's breathlessness because they can't believe where they're at, because as I said to you before, this has gone on my whole life. So people have managed to get away with things in the dark, going into spirit, changing things and stealing. And you know, this time round, spirit has said, the spiritual realm has said no. And the whole, I mean, I'll go into the COVID thing, but me personally, I believe the COVID was for us to all wake up and start to see the world in inverted brackets, how it really is and what people have really been doing. And like I said to you before, there's a lot of things that I already knew, but when you've got constant battering in the background and a network that constantly are trying to tell the world that you're this person and you're mentally ill, and it's been going on for years, and people have pretended to be you to try and get through things, and, you know, medical reports all being fake, and marriages and all sorts of stuff. You've got to focus on one thing, haven't you? And the focus on one thing is to prove the point that you're not. And obviously, when God guides you and your spirit team guides you, they're doing it for a reason. And obviously, like I say, I've done well in my career, I've done well in my life, apart from all the towers. I've done a timeline actually, and I will share it with you, and I do recommend anyone do that. I've done a timeline, and I've recognised that every time there was a tower in my life, it was at a certain point. And it also refers to my book as well. Every time there was an issue, i.e. I got made redundant, I split up with someone left my life, it's all part of the timeline. And you start to see the pattern, because, you know, people create patterns, don't they? And you start to see the pattern that this can't be normal, you know. And so obviously, there was a pattern. There was obviously a plan to keep me down, because obviously it suits somebody else's purpose to be operating as me. And I know there's other things that I could share with you, but I'm not going to share them just yet, because obviously it's not the right time. But I'm not the only one, and you know, all of you out there, you all know your own story. So, you know, and unfortunately, it's the people that are very closest to you are the people that, you know, will throw you under the bus for whatever reason, you know, they want to do. There is other reasons why they've done it, and I know those reasons, and obviously as time goes on I will share those, because I've got some more recordings to do. But obviously it's just nice to see that, you know, there are some genuine people out there that do want people to be able to voice their view, their opinion, and share and help others, and they don't get drawn into this whole, you know, who runs the world type scenario. you know, because we're all free spirits at the end of the day, aren't we? And we should all be allowed to be who we want to be and do what we want. And like I've said to you before, I have no problem with you operating in the dark. I just think that if you're going to do it, just be honest about it and who you are, so people have a choice whether they operate with you or whether they don't. You know, when you start meddling in the dark and you don't actually show yourself and you don't actually stand up for what you believe in, then it's a question as to, do you actually believe in what you're doing anyway? And I would say the answer is no, you don't, because you're not standing true in it. But that's my opinion. Anyway, let's get on to today. So I woke up and I got two things. I was sort of like shot out of bed. I got two things, and it said, oh, sorry, before I start, you know I mean well. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you're all, you know, enjoying your day and da-da-da-da. Sorry, I get into it. It's just me. Can't help it. As that song says in This Is Me. So yeah, I was sitting there and I got this thing that kept saying, help me, help me. And I know my purpose. I know my purpose. So I looked it up in the Bible, obviously. And there's two things. Well, there was two things that I picked up on, and I've got some cards as well because I just needed to clarify it on the cards. I think it's a bit from yesterday. There's a lot going on, and the fluttering, and I think people are actually operating out of panic mode now, which is obviously the worst way to manifest, because obviously if they're trying to manifest against me but they're doing it in a negative way, then, you know, I mean, you're doing it in a negative way isn't great anyway, is it? Let's face it. But I think if you're operating out of anger, frustration, just anxiety in general, it's just not going to happen, really. And I know you've come from a stability. That's what all the stuff was around my house. And, you know, even if you achieve that, then what? You know what I mean? It's like it's all going to come back to you anyway. So either way, whatever you're doing and all these people you've got involved to do it, at some point it's going to come back to you. And like I said before, age of Aquarius now, it doesn't wait 20 years. So I think, I don't know, I'm sensing that that's a little bit of the anxiety. Anyway, I looked in I looked in the Bible, and 3 verses came up, which was Psalms and John. So the Psalms one, help me, it said, Psalms 46.1, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help. Now, I could read more into that, but I'm not going to, because I'm going to explain why. Then I got Psalms 68:6. God sets the solitary in families. He brings out those who are bound into prosperity, but the rebellious dwell in dry land. Now, I took that as people switching destinies, and now the destinies are switching back, and maybe that's what's happening a little bit, because he says, but the rebellious dwell in dry land, and God sets the solitary in families. He brings out those who bound into prosperity. Hence going back to the COVID scenario, because I believe COVID wasn't about just sitting in your garden getting drunk and just lapping up the sun. Yeah, okay, fair enough, but it was also about reflecting, go within, be what you want to be. And the reason why I say that is when I was working in the offices, because obviously we couldn't go into the offices in the town centre, there was a lot of people, and I have a lot of respect for them, that just came in and was like, don't want to do this anymore. And they didn't. You know, they just decided that they didn't want to do what they were doing because it wasn't fulfilling their life. And I think that was part of them having that moment of reflection. So yeah, just a reference there. John 14:26. But the Helper, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, he will teach you all things and bring to you remembrance all things that I said to you. So I think, again, that comes back to, you know, there's a lot of us, I mean, you know, obviously that's Jesus saying it, but I do think that if you stand back and look at what the Bible is teaching us, we've all been given the Holy Spirit, and we've all been given the righteous and the wrong, and I think we all know right from wrong. And I'm not saying that people that operate in the dark don't know right from wrong, and I'm not saying that what they've been taught is wrong. What I'm saying is your soul will know whether what you're doing is right or wrong, because it will feel, your soul will just tell you. and your heart, because you wouldn't be feeling all this anxiety if everything was okay and perfect. But maybe it's because it's going back and you've not had to deal with it before. But if you go back to my recording about being the Empress, everything you put out and every lake of fire that I had to deal with, even though some of it wasn't my karma, you now have to deal with it, because we all have to deal with our karma in our lifetime. And those that thought they were going to go to the grave with the secrets, God is the holder of secrets, and your Akashic Records is the holder of secrets, and it's down to those that will decide when you get your karma back. Remember when we talk about divine timing, that's what it means. So this is why it's the year of infinity, because everything that was done is now going back. So all those people, and I heard the conversations there, everyone was collaborating about what they were going to do and how they were going to do it and who was doing what and when they were doing it, I heard the conversations, but I kept quiet because I knew that it didn't matter what I say, because I'd get gaslit anyway. I just wait for the energy to return. Because like I said to you before, I understand how karma works. What you put out is what you get back. So then the other thing that popped up, and I just want to read this. So I was looking through the Bible to sort of like get the whole picture. And although those were the references I got, it went straight to Psalms 14. So I just want to read Psalms 14, and then I'm going to read something else. And then I'll do the cards and then I'll read something else. So, Psalms 14. The fool says in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt, their deeds are vile. There is no one who does good. The Lord looks down from heaven on the sons of men to see if there are any who understand, any who seek God. All have turned aside, they have together become corrupt. There is no one who does good, not even one. Will evildoers never learn? Those who devour my people as men eat bread, and who do not call on the Lord, there they are, overwhelmed with dread. For God is present in the company of the righteous. You evildoers frustrate the plans of the poor, but the Lord is their refuge. Oh, that salvation for Israel would come out of Zion. When the Lord restores the fortunes of his people, let Jacob rejoice and Israel be glad. So remember when I talked around limitations as well? And I think the reason why that one popped up is because that's the energy that I'm feeling. So where it says, the Lord restores the fortunes of his people, all this destiny swapping, and it's not just happened to me, all this dark energy where people have taken people's opportunities and blocked the right opportunities and kept people in the lower vibration that should have been in the higher vibration. It's switching, and this is switching because the spiritual realm is switching it and the energy is switching it, not me personally. And like I said before, we're the conduits, aren't we? We're what people can see, so they attack it. But luckily, we've got our protection, haven't we? Because we've not created any bad karma. So why would we be attacked with bad karma, if that makes sense? Anyway, the cards that popped up, I just wanted to, because we're saying, who is this? What's going on? As we all do, you know how you do. So it came up that the lovers are out in the cold. So obviously, like I say, whatever was wished for us is now back on them. They're fighting. The secrets. Sorry, I did try and get some new cards, but they've all sold out, these ones. Of the greed. Now, they collaborated or they investigated me. Now, I believe they investigated me because I had a lot of stuff going on, which obviously I reported as well. And obviously at some point I will go into the whole detail of it, but I'm doing it in sections because it's easier. So yeah, they investigated me. And the family, see that, the family of the King of Swords haven't healed. That's how I've taken it. Haven't healed. But all their lies have come out now. So whatever they were saying has all come out, and it's all out in the front. And I don't believe it's just him that said it. Now they're not got any balance. So maybe this is the energy that I'm feeling. They've not got no balance because they're going through some serious karma. And they're watching the King of Cups, who's rushing in, or has rushed in, for an Ace of Cups. But the Knight of Pentacles, which I believe is related to the King of Swords, is heartbroken by the truth, you could say true love or not, of the Empress in the past. But the Devil is now either in regret or remorse for taking action, because obviously that was the King of Wands. And the Queen of Pentacles, yeah, so for taking action, the King of Pentacles, King of Wands, sorry, got the Queen of Pentacles to marry for the Ten of Pentacles, the Star, the Emperor, who actually went within about the Two of Cups and walked away. There you go, confirmation. So from that, I mean, it's running quite fast, so I'm not going to do the second set of cards. I might do them on the other one. But what I wanted to read you was this, because reading from the scripture and then reading, and then I was asking the question, help me, help me, help me, but I know my purpose. The song, the John Lennon song, Imagine, popped up. Now I'm going to read the first verse and then I'm going to jump into the second part of the verse, because I don't want to read it all. I'm not sure how much you can read on here. So I think it just correlates back to what the scripture is saying about, you know, let's all rise our vibrations a little bit, even whatever you believe in. Do you know what I mean? So going back to John Lennon. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries it isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Now, I'm going to just skip that and then go to imagine all the people living life in peace. Then you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions, I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of man. And then he goes on to say, imagine all the people sharing all the world. And I think, for me, when you think about the spiritual realm and the fight that's been going on there for years and years and years, I think that was what the message was, really. They read, sorry, it cut off again, like I said, it's an old camera. So what I was saying was, we read the Psalms pieces and the John, and then it fell on the Psalms 14, so obviously about the wicked and the evil, and then God putting back what was wrong, and then obviously going to the cards and the beep, and then reading the Imagine. And now I'm not sure whether the Imagine was part of that other piece that I heard, I know my purpose, but I'll do a separate one on that, because I think that that's something separate. But I think what they're trying to sort of say is, look, this is the way it's been for so long, the darkness, the light. It's time for peace and time for everyone to operate and find a way to operate as one. And I've said that right at the very beginning. So I do believe that although the battle is in the spiritual realm, somebody has brought it into the 3D. But if you look at one of my other ones where I said God works in mysterious ways, and he used that person because they know who's going to do what and how they're going to do it. They use that person because of their ego, and they obviously hadn't learned the lesson. So what they've done is they brought all the people who were given a temptation and a test together, and now they're dealing with what they've put out. And I would say, I mean, you know, only you know the answer to this, but I would say that what you're feeling at the moment is now you're being forced to reflect. And if you've never done it, and like I said very early on, you know, being forced into a dark night of the soul is more challenging than going willingly. So I think what's happening at the moment is, rather than actually doing the dark night of the soul, they're just projecting out. They're constantly projecting. But the problem with that is, it's still your karma and it's still your energy. So the more that you resist what's coming at you and you keep throwing more out, you're just going to get 10 times back. So I guess the point there is God. It says God is our refuge, strength and very present help. So I would suggest, my suggestion would be surrender and just accept what you've done, why you did it, and just take what's coming back at you, and then hopefully learn from it, because we all have karmic lessons, and the whole purpose of karmic lessons is to learn from it and not to repeat it. Close the cycle and move on. That's just my advice, and I'm sending you out with love, and I hope that someone who has been involved in all this takes that and works with it. I know that not everyone's going to take it. Some people are going to just be diehards to the end, and that's up to you. But there are probably some that are probably thinking, do you know what, this isn't worth it anymore. I don't want this anymore. You know, I've got a family to think about, I've got other things to think about, and maybe it's just not worth what I'm doing, because you're not fighting me, you're fighting the universe, you're fighting the spiritual realm, you're fighting God. And I said to you very early on, the devil will give you what you want, but is he going to stand there and fight your battle for you? No, he's going to run in the opposite direction. So I'm just saying. Anyway, I'm going to love yous and leave yous. Keep up your spiritual practices. I'm going to add this on to the end. I'm figuring stuff out as I go along. As you said before, I used to put something in the middle, but I don't need to now. Just slap it on in the middle. And have a great day, and I'll see you all soon. See you later. Bye.